everybody doing today? I'm so excited that you're here with us on the Thursday Think Tank. My name is Cole Finley, and I am so excited because we have an extraordinary panel of agents here with us today. But let's do some housekeeping first. As we go on today, a lot of you guys who join us regularly, you know that we love to encourage you guys to chat, share information. So when you are doing the chat, we don't do Q&A, we use it inside the chat. Just make sure you click on not host and panelists, but you want to click everyone so everybody can see your chat. Now, it's hard sometimes for me to keep an eye on the chat, especially when we got a lot of things going on today. We'll kind of be behind the scenes, but we have our intrepid, amazing, awesome Director of Operations, Robin Keeley. Say hi, Robin.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, there's Robin. So she will keep an eye on the chat for us, make sure that if you've got some burning questions, we can get those answered. Here's how this works today, though. I'm so excited. This is called Eavesdrop on the Top. And Eavesdrop on the Top is the mastermind idea of an extraordinary Keller Williams person. Her name is Pam Ranch. And so Pam, this happened during the COVID, and she was really trying to make sure all of her agents were staying active, engaged with each other. And she had one day in the shower, she had this wonderful, brilliant idea of what would it be like if there were 4 top real estate professionals sitting in a restaurant and they were having a conversation. And another agent walked in and they heard them, overheard them. They sat at a table next to them and they heard them and go, oh my gosh, they're talking about the industry. They're talking about the market. They're talking about best practices. All of those things. Just think of what you would get to learn if you could just overhear them. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So exciting. Now, I realize that I probably need to introduce a few people, and probably you guys don't even know who I am. So let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Cole Finley, and I am the founder and principal owner of 𝗘𝗟𝗏𝗧 Coaching and Consulting. I'm also a business, a performance, and a transformational coach and trainer. I've been a realtor since 2009. I manage real estate companies, and I've been coaching real estate agents since about 2012 or so. I'm an instructional designer with over 25 years of experience as a course creator and a trainer and a coach, which basically means I'm a big old coaching and training geek. I'm the founder of the Elite Agent Academy. I'm actually going to introduce that to you guys today. So exciting about that. And I'm the chief architect of our flagship courses. That's 12 Weeks to Breakthrough and our Jumpstart Training and Coaching for New Real Estate Agent course. Now, enough about me, though. Let me introduce you to some amazing people. The first panelist that we have coming on with us today, her name is 𝗟𝗘𝗦𝗪𝗪 𝗪𝗪, and she owns the Lux Group. It's a boutique team at Keller Williams Realty in the Midland, Odessa area of West Texas. Her team includes herself, a second agent, a licensed transaction coordinator, and a marketing assistant. Now, 𝗟𝗪 has a BBA in marketing from the University of Texas of the Permian Basin and has been a real estate agent for over 13 years. She is known for her extensive real estate knowledge and strong negotiation skills, providing exceptional representation to her clients. 𝗟𝗪 specializes in listings, buyer presentations, and investment advising, which we always love. She is currently expanding her team into the Austin market. All right. Hey, back by popular demand, we have Mr. Lance Welch here today. We love us some Lance. So Lance has a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters. In 2014, he left the corporate world to pursue a career in real estate. Now, he started out as a buyer's agent on a team until 2016. This team then merged with another team in his office, and he became their lead buyer agent until August 2020. At that time, he decided to become solo agent to further his career. Now, business tripled that year and has continued to grow ever since then. Now, this is really extraordinary, guys. This is so amazing. While battling cancer in 2021, he closed 81 units at just over 22 million. And yes, in 2022, he went into remission. Yay! He is also the president of the Permian Basin Board of Realtors for 2023. Building a team and helping people reach their goals is his focus. Next, the extraordinary, wonderful Kelly Preschler. So Kelly is a highly regarded real estate consultant with a remarkable ability to truly listen and understand her clients. With a solid foundation built through her successful ventures in Sedona, Arizona, including a thriving salon she managed for 15 years and co-ownership of the renowned 𝗟𝗔𝗡𝗪 Fine Jewelry, Kelly has honed her expertise in cultivating relationships and delivering impeccable service and integrity. This focus has earned her the reputation of being one of the top real estate agents in Arizona. She combines her extensive knowledge, attention to detail, and energetic approach to delivering exceptional results. Kelly is a tenacious advocate for her clients. I love that she really is, by the way, guys, very tenacious. And she is dedicated to making their real estate journey both rewarding and enjoyable. And last but never ever least, our very own Jeff Quincy. Many of you see him every single month. He is on our Elite Agent Academy faculty, and he is a mortgage and market expert. So Jeff has built a successful mortgage business over the past 19 years by taking an educative approach with his clients and referral partners. His entire mission is to show clients how they can create generational wealth through real estate and their respective financial options. Although this approach takes more time in educating and explaining options, it has proven to create lifelong clients and establishes him as a mortgage professional, not just an order taker. Not only is Jeff one of the top mortgage professionals in the industry, like I said, he is also a market and mortgage coach with 𝗬𝗟𝗡 and the Elite Agent Academy. So love all these amazing people, and I'm so excited they're here with us. So amazing real estate professionals. Come on in and say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing, everyone?
Hello. Guys, I'm so grateful for you to be here. Thank you so much for taking your time out. We really appreciate it. I know how busy you guys are.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you.
So here's how this basically works, everybody. I'm just going to pose one question, and then I'm going to go away because you don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from these amazing people. Here's what you want to do. First of all, do me a favor. If you are joining us live, we'd love to hear from you. Say hi. So do me a favor in the chat. Just go ahead and say hi, everybody. We'd love to see that. By the way, if you are watching us at the replay on Facebook, or if you're watching us on YouTube, also say hi. We want to know that you're here. And if you're watching us on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you subscribe to our channel here. All right. Oh, hi, everybody. Hi. We have all sorts of highs coming in from everywhere. Okay, so here's how it goes. By the way, if you are watching us, make sure you've got a pad of paper and a pencil, because I know you're going to grab some really amazing nuggets out of this. Okay, team, I'm just going to propose this question, and then I'm going to just go away for a while. Let y'all chatty chat. Sound good? All right, so here's the question. I have got several of my clients across the country are telling me that multiple offers are back for buyers. So here's my question. Are we back to a seller's market? Are we going back again? Discuss.
Well, that's a real good question. So I want to hear kind of what everybody else thinks around here. I know that we're all spread out throughout the U.S., so this is great. So Kelly, you want to start us first on Arizona?
Sure, it's absolutely true. It's Sedona.
Yeah,
People that it's a seller's market, and Sedona is only 9,600 people, so we're small, and we're only 18 miles square. So, and we're surrounded by 49% national forest. So we are truly an island in ourselves. So we don't really have what the big city people have. But it's always a joy to move to Sedona and live here. And I've been here 29 years and I love it. It's just not a lot of inventory, and it's definitely a seller's market. And in fact, there was a multiple offer on a $100,000 lot just recently. So the land is selling because it's a lower price point, and people say, well, if I can't find a house, I'm going to buy land, which isn't always easy because it takes 2 years to build a home. So it's, it's not so easy, but yes, definitely in Sedona, we are seeing multiple offers.
When did you start seeing that shift?
I want to say, gosh, it's probably been a good few weeks. And then but we are seeing, which is interesting, we're seeing houses close for below list. In fact, there was one that closed way below list the other day. I actually called my girlfriend, the agent, like wondering what was the deal. And it closed for like a couple $100,000 under list. So I would, it was, the biggest thing was, there was a comp that came in through the neighborhood that kind of set it off kilter. And the house, the people had it on the market, off the market, on the market. And they finally just said, we're just going to sell it. We got to sell it. So that was a surprise. I look every day. I mean, it's easy. Can you imagine? There's only 14 new listings today. So it's easy to watch our market here and know what's going on. And of course I see who sold it, what it sold for. And, but we just, as everybody, I think buyers have different expectations. Like they can just come and just put an offer in and not really be realistic about it, especially in our market. I mean, I don't know about how you guys are, but we really have to educate our buyers. Don't blowball. You're not going to get it. There's going to be somebody behind you that's going to pick it up. So just don't do that.
What's driving the buyers this time around, do you think?
The biggest thing is just being in Sedona and the people that missed out before. See, our town is a huge short-term rental town. As much as we wish they would just not all be here, as much as we wish a buyer would just say, hey, I want to buy a house and I want to live here and I want to be a part of the community, which, being here 29 years, I like it when people want to be a part of the community. But short-term rental, it's a law here. They can do it. So that drives a lot of people because people still want to be a huge factor. So yeah, I would say probably for my business, I would say, gosh, 70% of it, 65% is people that want to have Airbnbs.
Do you think they had, why do you think they had slacked off on the buying before?
Why they slacked off here?
Before that, it was back to
there was just nothing to buy. The prices were crazy high. And yes, the interest rate, I mean, all that stuff's going to affect everybody. But, if you really want to buy, you're going to buy. And if you really want to have that investment as a short-term rental, and we're seeing a lot of short-term rental owners that are actually selling those short-term rentals now, reselling them to maybe go someplace else.
From the mortgage side, one of the questions I have, knowing rates on second homes, right? January of last year, they added a loan level price adjustment to those. Are you seeing more cash buyers up there for the short-term rentals?
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of 1030,
cash is king.
a lot of 1031s.
Yeah.
A lot of 1031s. And Sedona has put in very strict rules. They've implemented a lot of rules because they couldn't really do it as a state of Arizona. It's the rule that they can have the short-term rentals, but it was like the city of Sedona is like, how can we step in and really be a part of helping our community out when everybody's complaining about the traffic and the ATVs and all the things that we're like, okay, we just want to have it as our home. It's different when you live here as a home. So the city of Sedona, they have strict rules, 3 strikes, you're out. So anybody that wants to come here and buy a short-term rental, they're required to sign a lot of different disclosures that they're aware of. The TPT for sales tax, they got to get a business license to the city of Sedona. 3 strikes, you're out. If after 3 strikes, you're out, you'll never do a short-term rental in Sedona ever again. So
what's your median price point over there? Sorry.
1.2. 1.2.
1.2. Wow. Yeah, that's a little bit bigger than our median price point for sure.
And what is yours?
330, I think.
Yeah, it's about 330 right now.
Both you guys about 330?
Yeah. Well, we're in the same town, so so good old Midland, Texas, good old West Texas. We actually have rain over the past 2 days. I forgot what that looked like, but one thing that I kind of wanted to get some input on everybody, especially on the mortgage side too, is if you notice last year, at least here locally, in June was a big shift for us. So we're almost at the year mark since that shift, where we started getting more houses on the market. And this conversation wasn't really a big conversation back then, because we had way too many homes on the market for us. And then all of a sudden, come January, right? And I think Imelda can get with me on this for sure. In Midland, we started seeing a decrease in homes on the market. And it's almost like everybody started getting over the sticker shock of interest rates, right? It was really scary last year, where it was, hey, I think they're only going to raise it about 3 times this year. And then they're like at, times 72, So everybody starts getting that sticker shock going off, and they're starting to buy. We're seeing more cash offers. We're seeing a lot of multiple offers, especially that $200,000 to $400,000 range, specifically, even all the way up to about 6. And just, what was it, 3 weeks ago, I was in a multiple offer situation with, there was 7 offers at the time. And luckily we ended up getting it for our client. But the thing was, we had to get super creative at that point of how do we actually present this offer? What are we looking at as far as title policy, home warranty? Are we even asking for that? Are we doing bigger, amounts on our option period, earnest money, everything there? So I'm kind of curious, especially on the mortgage standpoint, what you think we can do for our buyers when we're getting into this, multiple offer situation of 2, 3, 4, sometimes 10 offers to kind of help out.
Yeah, I think, Lance, the biggest thing we're seeing in this, if you ever hear me talk, I talk about how I'm different than every other loan officer and taking an educational approach. And I think now more than ever, that's needed ahead of time. Like at step 1 pre-qual stage, they have to be educated on what what that buyer is going to have to do and expect in order to win an offer, which comes with a need for preparation, right? We had this window. And to your point, when you said you saw things change in January, I'm just south of Kelly down here in the Phoenix market. And we hit a high in October at 21,000 homes on the market. We're currently under 11,000. It's literally dropping 1,000 a month. And a normal market for us is somewhere between 30, 40, some even argue more than 40,000 homes. So my conversation with every client is we're headed back to COVID levels. And I just pray to God we don't head back to COVID negotiating, where we're waiving appraisals, we're waiving inspections, we're seeing 50 to 100 grand over, but we're already starting to see 5, 10, and 15 grand over list price in some markets, move-in ready homes. And if that client's not prepared, if they're coming in with just the minimum necessary funds on their loan, they're not going to win in a multiple offer situation. We have 6 loans closing this month. 4 of the 6 have 2-1 buy down still. But that I've been saying since January that by midsummer, we're going to see 2-1 buy downs, and the concessions needed for that go completely away. And I think it's going to be more like end of May, right? In the next 2 weeks, we're going to see the likelihood of getting that level of concessions is going to go away. So it's preparing them. And some people might need to take it. It's hard, right? Because our job is to help people get into homes at the time that they're ready and willing to do so. And for some people, they're going to have a hard realization that they might need to take a step back, and they may need to grow their savings account. They may need to improve their credit score versus taking that less favorable loan. And it's, being honest and ethical and doing the right thing by the client, I believe, to set them up for success.
That's what I always say, because they don't always, and in Sedona, we're different because they will request pre-approvals. You can't even schedule a showing without this. You have to have the proof of funds, you have to have a pre-approval. They don't want a pre-qual, they want pre-approval. And it's like, I want to set them up for success, like all of us do for our clients. And it's just always a hard conversation because like, oh gosh, that one extra job that they have to do. But it's like, yeah, but you're going to look stronger. You're going to look so much stronger with the pre-approval when you got multiple offers. And, a seller's going to look at all these and then it's putting the right in. I had somebody that was wanting a really nice house. It was a single gal and she had a lender from California and we agreed on a price and everything was going smoothly. I called her and I said, I'm thinking she's going to be super excited. She's got this great house and it's got a fenced backyard, which you got to realize in Sedona, we don't have fenced backyards. So if you have a dog that needs a fenced backyard, it's a rare thing to find a fenced backyard, but we found it. And I called her to check in on her like the next day. And I go, how are you? She goes, I'm freaking out. I go, why are you freaking out? She goes, I just can't afford this. I said, she goes, I know my lender says I can afford it, but I can't afford it. And all I kept saying was, think how much the dogs will love the yard. Think how much the dogs will love the yard. I'm thinking to myself, well, that wasn't so cool because it was up to her. And I was like, okay, people sometimes want in so bad. And I'm like, she goes, yeah, but I wasted your time. I said, you didn't waste any of my time. You got to be happy with what you're buying. You got to live in it. And I don't really dig into people's financials. I don't know if you guys as agents do. I send them to the lender. They get pre-approved. I don't ask them how much they make, how much they can afford. I only look at it when I see the pre-call or the pre-approval. And I did say to myself when I saw the pre-approval, I thought, wow, she makes a lot of money because she's able to afford $6,300 a month in a mortgage, but it really wasn't, it wasn't true. And I thought, I tell people, you got to live and you're not wasting my time. You'll find the perfect house with the fenced yard for the dogs or whatever. But yeah, we definitely, if you want to get in Sedona bad enough, you better have all your ducks in a row.
Yeah. I had one question that I kind of wanted to ask Imelda going off of this stuff is, we've talked a lot about buyers already. Imelda, you're really good at listings over there in Midland. So one of the biggest questions that I have for you is I know in our market that you and I are currently in, we're seeing a bunch of multiple offer situations. It's happening. However, we're also seeing all these same multiple offers with buyer concessions and things that buyers are needing for instance, a 2-1 buy down and so on and so forth, anything in closing costs. So when you're talking with your sellers and preparing them for all this kind of stuff, what's that conversation look like to get them ready for, hey, you might get 3 offers, you might get 1, but they also might be needing some type of concessions. How do you prepare them for that?
I always mention the concessions, I say it just depends whether the buyer needs it or not. It's kind of to be determined. Typically, I say if they're conventional buying a home that's 300 and up, the likelihood that they're just asking for it is probably high. So if you wanted to go back and take that off the table, right, as a counter, I would recommend that. Now, if you're looking more in the first-time home buyer range, then the likelihood that the deal will not happen without it is higher. So you might want to consider going ahead and including that. So that's how I prepare them for that. As far as multiple offers, we're not in that crazy market where everybody's asking crazy amounts over sales price. So we're seeing more creative offers. Shorter inspection periods, option periods, partial waivers on the appraisal, and of course, title paid by the buyers. So we're seeing more creative offers like that. So I do like to stress with every offer, present what the strength is of that offer. So it's not, if you get somebody that brings you a higher offer and they don't have that appraisal waiver that's beneficial on the seller side, you may just kind of be, is it really going to appraise? So you may end up having to lower the price anyway based on the appraisal when it's all said and done. So it's kind of like up in the air. So sometimes it makes sense to go with a stronger off with maybe a lower offer with stronger terms. So that's what I've been kind of talking with my sellers about.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been running into a bunch of situations, especially on FHA and VA loans here lately, or buyers, really say loans. I'm not a loan officer. So where we really have to sit down and ask some questions on these offers that are coming in. I'm talking on a listing standpoint. There was one house a couple of weeks ago that I've sold 3 times in 10 days. So you kind of get what I'm getting at here, right? So the pre-approval letter that we got in, was saying that they're good to go on all this stuff, and it turns out it wasn't. So what I've learned off of that was going, okay, great. I know that this pre-approval says pre-approval, doesn't say pre-qual. It says that they've verified all these things, right? And then we start running into what if they got a sticker shock there? Because this is about $100,000 to $200,000 area that I'm talking about right here. So it's super competitive. And so what I've started doing for my sellers there is go, okay, great. If we have these offers on the table, let's assume they're all about the same, right? We're $1,000 in between them, right? So what my next deal is to take that pre-qualification letter and call that lender and ask certain questions that I can, right? And just verify that, hey, these guys we're good, right? And I'll call them all and then present all that information to my sellers and let them decide from that point. So that's kind of what I've been doing here lately to combat that a little bit. But I have been noticing, especially in that $400,000 price range, I've been running into some people that, they might have been $450,000, $500,000 pre-approval a year or two ago, right? But thanks to the interest rate, yay. So here we are going, okay, they've got the down payment. That's no problem. They do not have the closing cost. And so what I've been seeing here lately is, say, a $400,000 house, somebody asking for $10,000 in closing and going in at $410,000 to compensate. And so that's kind of some of those questions that I have to ask, or I have to really talk to a seller about and tell them, hey, yes, they need the closing costs. We've discussed this with them in length. However, are we worried about appraisal? And that kind of goes into the next question I have for any of y'all to take up is, what are we running into on appraisals? Because here locally, in some cases, we've got many, many buyers that are ready to go for that exact price, but the appraisals haven't caught up yet.
That's what I was actually going to add in next is, during COVID, when you're in a rising house price market, we all on both sides of the fence, we complain about appraisers because we're here, but they're looking back here, right? Mm-hmm. They're looking back 3-6 months when houses were selling less. And what we're headed into as inventory comes down, prices go up, is we're going to be back to that age-old thing where we haven't seen any appraisal issues yet in the last 14 months. But we're headed there because as these prices start trending up and they're looking backwards at a stale market, we've even heard of like Tucson, that market's no different than Phoenix. And we just heard of a loan officer got an appraisal back where they marked that it was a declining market. And home prices are going up only 1% to 2%, but it's not declining. And that caused an issue on the loan. So I think that's a very fair point, Lance, is as a lender, we're always going to educate, not every lender does, but they should educate that client who's tight. Like, hey, if you need $10,000 in concessions, just know there's got to be some give and take here. You're probably going to want to increase that price by $10,000. And then you're going to want your buyer's agent to really dig into those comps to make sure the value's there. Because the second that appraisal comes in 10 grand low, guess what? The first thing the seller is going to take off the table is the concessions you need. Now we wasted everybody's time, right? And I think as probably over the next 12 months, we are going to start seeing some short appraisals again. You bring up a valid point of negotiating that with your seller on those offers, that taking the higher price offer might not always be the best way to go.
Yeah, Lance, I'm kind of, it's interesting that you say that you're seeing that closing costs on homes in the 400,000 range, because if I was, receiving that offer, and especially in a multiple offer situation, I would say, I don't know about the strength of these buyers. If they're maybe have just enough for the down payment, but not for the closing costs, and they're buying a home that's, $400,000, I would definitely be giving, interrogating the loan officer a little bit. What is this? Are you barely getting it through the approval, or like what's, I may be just creating scenarios in my head, but that's a red flag for me, is when in that price point and you're still requesting closing costs.
I think too, sometimes in our market, some buyers will just try to get whatever they can. Any closing costs, getting a home warranty, whatever it might be. And, there's just not enough inventory. A seller's like, I don't think so. Because there's gonna be somebody right behind you that's gonna give me what I want. But I do think it's our job, especially now, to really check up on what they qualify for, talk to the lender. Like we have, of course, you can imagine, what our appraisal situation is like out here in Sedona. Because like when it was crazy busy, I had somebody that just called to ask about an appraisal of a house that was sold a year ago. Like, so why did it appraise for this amount? And it was a high priced property. I said, well, the market, you're an appraiser. They got what they asked, and the people wanted it, and you could do short-term rental on it. So I mean, our town is small enough that the appraisers, they will call the agent that sold something in the similar area or sold that house previously to kind of like, what am I missing from the pictures? Why is it selling? Why did it sell for that much? And now somebody's trying to resell it, wanting to ask that price. It's like, we're not in that market anymore. It's like, it's always a sad thing in my world, because I'm like in such a small niche market. It's like, there's no way to go outward. I don't have it's small, so like we can really know each other, and we definitely, talk to each other, talk to other agents. They don't have to be with Keller Williams. They can be with any other brokerage in Sedona. We still tell each other everything. So yeah, we definitely have to set them up for success.
I think Lance brought up a good point too, the difference between pre-qual and pre-approval. I teach this to agents all the time that, I can give you my definition. The problem is every lender and every loan officer has their own definition. For the most part, it used to be 5 years ago, a selling point for me that I could go get that borrower pre-underwritten. So all we needed was contract and appraisal. And that was kind of a selling point for me. Now it's become pretty common practice. Right. So if you were the listing agent, that would be, if I had 5 offers, I'd be digging through there to see what loan officer was smart enough to go get their buyer who's in a very competitive market pre-underwritten, because that's pretty much a done deal for you guys, as long as the contract price is supported by comps and you don't have to worry about appraisal. In fact, I have this conversation with every client about getting pre-underwritten and the benefit of it. I say, look, here's what a listing agent and a seller believe. Seller believes they have the nicest house on the street, so they don't care about your inspection. They're not worried, right? Even if there's 20 years of deferred maintenance, they believe they have the nicest house. And the listing agent has done their homework and they believe they priced it right. So they don't care about the inspection. They don't care about the appraisal. They care about you as the buyer. If you take their home off the market, are you getting to the closing table and giving their seller the net that they want? And if we can tell them that you're already pre-approved, they don't care about the other items that still need to be done, which is get the contract into the lender, order the appraisal, you do your inspection, we're ready to close in a week and a half, right? So I think that's something every agent should be doing on the listing side, is finding out who's actually pre-underwritten, not sent through an automated underwriting system, because we can all manipulate everything in there. We can say that somebody has $1 million in assets when they really have $10. Yeah. And it's really having zero condition borrower related conditions can put you guys, or at least your sellers, at peace of mind that this transaction should close.
It really, like, when I have a seller, it just shows me the seriousness of the buyer when they're pre-approved. They're serious. They want that one extra step. They got to do it anyway. Why not just do it, and find out from the beginning, can I afford this? What they say, champagne taste in a beer budget. That happens a lot of times in Sedona. It's like,
I bet.
I want you to get that glass of champagne. I'm sorry, but you can't.
I think it's pretty much our standard, right, Lance? Here around here, we don't present offers without a pre-approval.
Correct. Yeah, I've had many buyers give me a call this week and tell me, "Hey, man, I found the perfect house. Great. Do you have a pre-approval yet? Have you talked to the lender at all?" No, we're good. Our credit score is this, and I have this much money. Great. That's awesome. High five for you. However, these sellers are not even going to look at an offer unless it's accompanied with a pre-approval letter. And then that kind of gets them going. Yeah. I do have a question for you guys.
Can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
Jeff, there was a question. Don't we need a signed contract / address to get pre-underwritten?
So you used to. That's what's changed and become such commonplace is almost any lender now will do what's called a TBD underwrite, where the address says to be determined. It used to be you had to have a contract and an address, and the companies did that because it bogged down their underwriting turn times with a bunch of files that may never close, right? So the underwriters were busy underwriting a bunch of files that may never go under contract. That has now become, not every bank does it, but it's pretty commonplace that you can go get a TBD underwrite where an actual underwriter reviewed the full set of borrower docs that we would need. Now, that doesn't get you around. Like, we just had a client, we were ready to go 3 weeks before close of escrow. All we needed was the final verbal verification of employment. And the verification team came back and said, it was Tuesday, last week, Tuesday. Did you know he left his job on Friday? Young kid buying his first house. So I call him up right away. I'm livid. Like, why would you not tell me this? It just, pure ignorance on his part, being a first time. He didn't think we would know. Not even like he was keeping it from us. He just thought it was a non-issue. I'm already through underwriting. He got laid off. But he's like, good news, Jeff, is I'm starting my new job in 2 days. So luckily we were 3 weeks ahead of schedule. But so things like that can still come up. If it takes a couple months to go under contract, we need updated pay stubs and bank statements. But it's not often that big changes like that happen that take that underwritten approval and now we're dead in the water. Can happen, but it's rare.
Where do you see the interest rates going?
They will come down slower than what we thought, though. I said by the end of the summer, we follow really two main mortgage market experts, 𝗵𝗘 𝗪𝗑𝗪, who's been, doing this for 30 years. David Stevens has been in DC on the housing committee. Both smart men. Both of them say rates will come down to 5. The other one says 5.5. I tell clients, let's just cut it in the middle at 5.25. The biggest reason for that, and everybody's like, Jeff, well, how and why do you believe them? Well, for 50 years, the mortgage rates were 2% above the 10-year treasury. Until these last about 14 months, they've gone to 3 to 3.5% above the 10-year treasury for the first time ever. 10-year treasury, I haven't looked at it today, but it's been hovering right at 3.4. So add 2 to that, and we're 5.4. And all of that is because of inflation. That's what's created that margin. So as inflation comes down, you'll see those rates chase inflation back down. It's your guess is as good as mine when that happens. I've kind of changed my viewpoint on seeing how slow this is happening. Some of the data that's coming out. We have the debt ceiling is a huge issue right now that we literally have less than 2 weeks for them to figure this out. That could have a negative impact on rates longer. But I've adjusted mine to say probably early to late fall is when we'll finally see those rates come back down. And you're going to see inflation improve over the next 2 months at a great number because we have some big numbers falling off from May and June of 2022. What stymied things is May 10th, we've had circled since January because both inflation numbers were large in April of 2022. The Monday before the inflation numbers came out, the Bureau of Labor Statistics went back and adjusted the inflation numbers from a year ago, April of 2022, and made them better so that the improvement that was announced on May 10th would have no impact. So we saw inflation go down 0.1%. It was supposed to go down 0.5%. And this isn't the time or place to get into it, but you want to talk about market manipulation. They've never gone back and adjusted an inflation number, let alone 12 months after the fact and 2 days before the new inflation numbers were coming out. So there's supposed to be a nice drop on May 10th. That did not happen.
That makes sense. That's cool. So I did want to ask a question to you guys. I've been running into this 5 times this week already, where we're getting in multiple offer situations with multiple contingencies. Each person bringing said offer has contingencies. So we got 3 offers on the table. Every single one has a contingency attached to it. I have one tomorrow that we're supposed to get an offer in on that has a double contingency on it. So
well, envy your guys' job.
It's great fun. We've got right now, as of 10 minutes ago, we've got 390 houses on the market. Like when they're sitting there, it's more around 600 to 700 on the market. So we're running to a bunch of places where somebody might want to move into Green Tree and they're coming from a different area, but they've got to sell their house. So are you all running into that situation? And if so, how are you kind of combating that?
Just pick the agent that you want to work with the most, because it's kind of a toss-up.
That's fair. It goes into relationships with multiple offer situations. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really, our market is so tight that we don't have a lot of sellers willing to take any contingencies. You know, they will take some, but they again, they don't have to. I think
There's always going to be a cash buyer somewhere.
we've got 59 active listings. So it's like, that's pretty slim, you know, and so it's kind of like the sellers, you know, it's a seller's market. They can decide yes, no. And then again, you know, the contingency to have to sell a property in, I'll just say North Dakota or whatever, is not going to really, our sellers are not going to say, oh, wow, North Dakota, cool. That house is going to sell like that. It's like, well, when is that house going to sell? But, you know, I mean, you know, a buyer, they always want to try and you always want to get them a home. I get that. But it's almost like, you know, sometimes like, you know, just sell your house, come back to Sedona. Then I get the same thing, but there's not going to be the house there there's not going to be the inventory. I said, yeah, but you know, there's going to be something better. And, you know, this kind of like shift your mind a little bit, like just do what you should do and then come back and we'll find you a better place, because they're not taking contingencies.
Yeah, we just had one client selling in Pennsylvania and went out, agent took that client out for one weekend and it was multiple offers on every house they liked. And it said pause. He got a cash offer, got through inspection period, and then they hit the ground again. And that worked. You know, we're going to do a simultaneous close just because we can get the loan done. We had him pre-underwritten. So that was his concern. I'm going to sell in Pennsylvania and then literally have to be in Arizona for a new job the next day. Well, I can shorten that loan process by 2 weeks to have you pre-underwritten, and you're going to have a better chance of getting your offer accepted. So that's what we did in that case up against multiple offers, is just waited for him to get that cash offer and get through inspections.
I feel like it's easier. I mean, for me, I'd rather them do that than come here and, you know, then they're ready. They're ready and the seller knows they're ready, and you can legitimately go make the appointment to go look at the property and they can really write the offer and all's good, because it's a lot of work to write those offers, knowing that they're never especially knowing my market, it's not going to get accepted. The seller's not going to take contingencies. They'll even say on the marketing remarks, agent to agent, they'll spell it out. No contingencies, no this, no that. And so they really help when you have a buyer to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, this is what the seller's asking for. So just let's go with that. You know, they don't like it when you don't listen to what they're saying or what they're asking for.
Yeah, no, and Melda, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Lance.
Okay, so I was gonna go ahead and say, correct me if I'm wrong, on our market, right? 390 houses on the market. We're in that more balanced, heading towards a seller's market for us. If it keeps going down, I think it'd be a full-blown seller's market like what you're going through, Kelly. But we're seeing so many different contingencies here for sure, mainly because we're an oil field driven town, right? So some people are moving, you know, contingency here, moving to Houston to here, Colorado to here. California, they don't really have that many contingencies. They're more cash, you know, and kind of go from there. So what are you seeing, Imelda, and all that?
Well, I was going to say, I am in contact with or connected with some companies that are offering what it is a little bit risky. It's on their buy, it looks better. Essentially a cash offer makes their purchase look like, or their buy look like a cash offer, but they're still dealing with that same company to sell their home. But I think that the risk is lessened because it's a contingency. So I think that's what I would advise my buyers who are competing with multiple offers, and it gets to that point to where we've got to remove this contingency in order for you guys to get a house. I think at that point I would advise to maybe look into those programs where they essentially present themselves as a cash buyer.
I want to point out something that was said at two different times for two different topics that I think shouldn't be lost here. Is Kelly mentioned this earlier in her market being so small, although they're at different brokerages, they all know each other. They're not viewing themselves as competition. And then Imelda, you just said that in Lance's multiple offer situation, pick the deal with the agent you know that's easy to negotiate with. I think it's the most important thing, right? Is I see too often out in the marketplace agents, oh, that's my competitor. Oh, I don't want to go to a Keller Williams office for a training. And I'm sitting there going, these aren't competitors. These are your coworkers who happen to have a different name behind them. But you know, if you know Lance and you get to know him and he's your buddy, you get to go out and have a beer with him. And all of a sudden he's a listing agent that your buyer wants to buy a home from. Do you think your odds just increase that your contract's going to get pushed a little bit? Like, I know you guys do everything ethically, right? And present all offers, but there's a value in building relationships outside of your brokerage. And I think that shouldn't be lost.
You know, and we're all friends. You could swear every office, we all work together. I could call any of them up and ask them any question. Actually, this afternoon, I'm going to go preview 2 properties that are on the market that it's an estate sale from another fellow agent because she wants me to see it. And she's not gonna put them on the market yet. So, you know, small town like that, we get the in, we get in the know. And then, you know, then there's those times where, you know, who you don't want to work with and, you know, who maybe isn't as ethical as they should be. So we know that too in small town. We talk about it.
Well, and that's part of our fiduciary duty to our clients, right? Is if we get 2 offers that, let's say they're the exact same price, and I have Imelda bringing it to me, which I used to be at her brokerage too. You know, we're good friends. And I have Joe Blow, who, you know, is really always made every single transaction difficult. And they're the exact same offer. I'm going to go let them know, hey, in my experience, this is what I've seen on both sides. You make the decision. And they're probably going to go with Imelda at that point. What were you about to say, Imelda?
So those sellers do ask, you know, you present everything, you're like, okay, make a decision. They're like, well, what do you think? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
And we do know, you know, the joy of working with somebody that it's an easy transaction. You know, they got everything's signed and initialed, and you know, it's just like I was thinking the other day, I was telling my husband, I said, you know, it's kind of like we do surgery. You know, we got the surgeon, we got the anesthesiologist, we got the nurses, we got the staff in the operating room, and we're all working together to make this surgery a success. And we need each of us. I mean, the anesthesiologist can't do it by themselves, or the surgeon. And so I was telling him, because I was having a situation with a lender that wasn't in communication, which was odd, because I will communicate with everybody because I am just that kind of person. I will call you, I'll talk to you. And I didn't have any communication. And this woman, I thought to myself, is she trying to do surgery by herself? Because it's never going to work. And so my husband said, so which part are you in this deal? I said, I am the surgeon. I'm the surgeon. And we're going to get this operation done. But, you know, it's so much easier to work. It's so much better to work together. It's so much easier. Who wouldn't want to? Right?
And we'll always run into these situations where not every transaction goes smooth. And in the moment you say that this transaction is the smoothest is when everything breaks loose, right? So those agents that you've built relationships with that'll go to bat to actually try to get this thing to closing for everyone, including their buyer, it's all a team play right there. Those are the type of agents that you really want to work with.
Yeah.
I think it's universal. Like, you know, like with Keller Williams, you did the DISC, you got the C, the D, the S, and the C, or the I. You know, it's just like with people. You got those universal people. They are the way they are. And we just, as human beings, we just adjust to their personality and who they are, whether it's another agent, whether it's your buyer, whether it's your seller, or whether it's, you know, the person on the other side of the transaction. So I feel like we have to be a chameleon. I feel like a chameleon all the time, and I'm fine with that. I've mastered that. I'm good with that. But yeah, I actually, in every deal, it's never the same. Absolutely. In every deal I learned something from, and on every deal in that folder, I put something that I've learned, because good or bad, maybe, and there's things that I could have done better. Absolutely. Things that I think, well, I should have done that, or I've learned something. So I always suggest to people, you know, you can always learn, and make note of what you've learned and just like, okay, I'm going to add this to my little toolbox and be better next time about this or that. And I only have a transaction coordinator, so I am a solo agent. And I call her my paper angel because let me tell you, she keeps my ducks in a row.
Well, Kelly, it's such a great point. And I tell you what, you really just outlined exactly what everybody is here who's taking part in our panel today, all of you guys, as well as everybody who's watching. And this is what we do. We learn from each other. You've been in the business for a long time. I know Jeff's been in the business, Imelda, Lance, all of us have been in the business a long time. And I'll tell you, I learned something new this week in real estate. And I definitely learned some new things from you guys today. So I want to thank you so much. Do me a favor, everybody who's watching, let's give some applause for our amazing panelists. They were so great. You guys are so wonderful to take your time out of your day. Here's all of our applauses are coming through. Taking time out of your day. I so appreciate it. Hang on just a second. I want to do a little housekeeping, which is so exciting. And I want to share with everybody that we launched something new this week, and it is called the Elite Agent Academy Partnerships. You may not know this, but our programs, our 12 Weeks to Breakthrough program, our Jumpstart program, we have 3 different coaching programs, and then our standalone classes are all done through our entity, which is the Elite Agent Academy. Well, this week we are now offering a partnership with independent brokerages or teams. I'm going to look at all you guys here on the panel, or teams, and we partner with you to provide the coaching not only for your new agents, but your experienced agents. So if you'd like to know more information about that, or if you know someone who is really interested in that, maybe you're the type of person you go, man, I'm handling GATA minutes and I'm handling compliance and I'm handling all of the legal issues that are coming up, and I've still got to recruit and I've got to come up with all this training. We actually will do that for you. So a little bit of information, check out this QR code. Just go ahead and take a picture of this QR code, and then that will give you tons more information. And then we can certainly chat about that. By the way, anybody who's watching here, one of the things I also love to do for our people who are taking part in our webinars, I love to sit down with you for a strategy session. It's a complimentary strategy session, talk all about your business, what's going great in it, where your challenges are, see if I can provide some value, and perhaps we even have a solution for you. And then if you want to get just a whole ton of information, so our head company is called 𝗬𝗟𝗏. You can check us out at 𝗬𝗟𝗏.com, 𝗬𝗟𝗏.com, and we have videos on there. Like this video will be on there by tomorrow. We have all sorts of our suggested reading. We have got blogs. We have got lots of different information on there. So love for you to check that out. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this as much as everybody here did. I hope everybody who is watching does that. Well, we appreciate all of you guys for watching on YouTube and on Facebook. And we'll see you guys later on.
Thank you. Nice meeting all of you. Nice. Now we'll have to stay in touch.
Yes. Bye, friends.